Good day, learners. We are on to study session 4, Norms and Values in the Society. But before we start with this study session 4, we want to recap what we did previously for you to recall in study session 3. In study session 3, we looked at ethics and discipline. We looked at the definitions that are embedded in ethics and discipline. We also looked at the clarifications that are embedded in them. We also looked at the philosophical study of morality, ethics. We looked at also the concept of ethics and the basic elements that are involved in morality, ethics. And so we want to proceed now to study session 4 proper, which is norms and values in the society. Under that, we'll look at norms and values. We'll be looking also at the elements of culture and the perspective of norms and values. First, before we continue, we want to let you know that there are different manners which are deemed to be natural or a way of life in which a society of the world conducts our tasks, performs our functions, and delivers basic survival needs for the continual growth and sustainability of the people. At the same time, it is believed that the manner of achieving these basic needs are distinctive and peculiar to every society. Such functions or tasks include, among other things, provision of food, shelter, goods and services, which may be economics in nature, maintaining of law, order and social control, which has to do with government, belief and worship of supernatural beings for the spiritual growth of the society. We want to start with the norms and values. Norms are social and cultural guidelines by which societies live their lives and consciously and unconsciously comply or conform to laws, rules, and regulations. Norms are therefore important factors that defines people's attitude and behavior, determines individuals and groups' social acceptance or non-acceptance. Society members learn how to behave through a combination of stimulus, which include visual and oral sensory organs. As people grow in their mental maturity and awareness, the influence of environmental factors and family combine to define people's norms. We want to look at the elements that are embedded in culture, because in culture there are basic elements embedded in them. 1. Norms and values cannot be appreciated, understood, and itemized without understanding of culture, the grand norms upon which the totality of human action are predicated upon. 1. Look at cultural universal. We call this cultural universal because it refers to specific values, norms, and beliefs that are found and cherished in all cultures all over the world. Symbols. This is used to represent beliefs and values. Language, a system of symbolic communication, and technology, material culture, to expand the realm of domestic and the environment. Beliefs. Beliefs are shared ideas about how every society operates. Beliefs helps individuals to fall back on the past, to interpret the present, and use as example to predict the future. According to Brett Stark, there are 3 major dimensions to the concept of culture, from which its functions can be gleaned. These are ideas, norms, and materials. The first one is idea. Idea connotes the way of thinking and a theoretical understanding of a phenomenon based on some knowledge about it that helps the people to organize their consciousness. The next one out of the 3 is norms. Norms are the accepted ways of doing or carrying out ideas, material or the artifact. This is the output of idea as propelled by the norms, that is a pattern of possessing and using the product of culture. You have the diagram that shows each of these, how they are linked together in your material, to also take note and really appreciate how it relates to one another in figure 1. And so we go straight to perspective on norms and values. Perspectives on norms and values. For a society to function as expected, such society requires that there be shared patterns of behavior amongst its members. To ensure this, each society, as it were, involves various systems of common rules, norms to regulate the behavioral patterns of all its members. Whereas cases of deviation from these norms of social behavior, the errants or deviant members would be reprimanded through the social control put in place to checkmate aberration or disorder, thus averting any form of conflict. Social control is therefore a mechanism put in place by which the society exercises its dominion over all components or group of people and enforces conformity to stipulated norms and values. We want to specifically look at social norms, and we want to say that social norms regulate citizens' behavior. These rules are both prescriptive and proscriptive. For the prescriptive one, we can say that it tries to spell out the acceptable behavior, while the proscriptive defines behavior that are not accepted. Under social norms, there are rules of behavior. Durawade, 2003, identified 5 different types of norms in this category as follows: folkways, mores, laws, values, and rituals. We start with the folkways. Folkways are approved standards of behavior passed on from one generation to the other. They generally cover activities that are not essential to the survival of the group. Violations of folkways are usually handled informally through words and gestures of disapproval. Gestures can be through non-verbal communication such as eye movement or bodily contact, or movement or disapproval of behavior. These responses can be referred to as sanctions. And so under sanctions, we have that they are basically reactions that convey approval or disapproval of behavior. Positive sanctions are used to enforce and encourage conformity, while negative sanctions are used to withhold such approvals. We now move to the second aspect or third aspect, which is the mores. Mores are norms that normally cover normal or moral and ethical behavior. They are more crucial to social order than the folkways. They are therefore more severely enforced. They are obligations to respect constituted authority and to maintain community standards of decency. Are moral rules that brings condemnation and scorn on the violators in many primitive and civilized societies. We now go into law. Law are norms which are part of the social control that are formally adopted, which govern behavior most essential to group survival. Laws are therefore enforced, but through formal sanctions carried out by officials. These laws are the crystallization of traditional practices. They adjudicate on what is acceptable and sanctions the offenders. They are thus backed by formal sanctions. We want to understand what values are. And we can say that values are central beliefs of a culture that provides a standard by which norms are judged. That is, or in other words, we can say that values are those widely held beliefs for the maintenance of social and public order. Another thing is ritual. We can say that rituals are ceremonies that reinforces the unity of the society and helps individuals to overcome major transition in lives. Rituals are therefore culturally patterned ways for expressing some central values or practice of the people. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you on the other side of study session 5. God bless you.